Let's take a minute and talk about the Clytemnestra essay and how it should be a bit different than your weekly responses. The last time around, as we worked on Ariadne, many of you produced the same kind of stream of consciousness, loose work that's fine for a weekly response. I mean, when you're doing a weekly response, you're reading a lot, you are thinking through a particular passage or a particular idea pretty quickly, and you're trying to incorporate some of the text in your analysis, and it's rapid fire. But now that we finished the entire novel, and now that we're almost through the course, which is hard to imagine, it's time to step back and situate the novel in the context of the course and to make connections in deliberate, careful ways. So what does that look like in your actual paper? First, whether you are talking about Clytemnestra as a rebellious figure who is pushing up against the corrupt status quo, or whether or not you're looking at is Clytemnestra wicked within the context of the novel and her society, or whether you are looking at Clytemnestra or Agamemnon or Helen as a figure of tragedy whose suffering can teach us something. Whichever one of those topics you elect, you're going to be making connections throughout the novel. You're going to focus on a clear thesis in your introduction. And as a quick reminder, a thesis explains A, what you're claiming, and B, why it should matter to readers. So if you say Clytemnestra is a rebel against the corrupt patriarchy, okay, that's not a thesis because you haven't explained why we should care. Why does Casati want us in the 21st century to be thinking about these things? What's the point? The thesis should always answer that so what? Why does it matter question. So whether you're looking at Clytemnestra as a figure of rebellion, as whether or not you're looking at the nature of tragedy, whether you're looking at the idea of wickedness, whichever path you choose, focus on that kind of connection to our own world and lives. Along with that, you're going to need lots of quotations from throughout the novel. You're going to be making connections between what happens early. When is your topic at its peak? What questions are we left with, or what responses are we left with in the end? So you're going to be doing all of that. I'm going to remind you too, this novel is not isolated within the context of the course. So we saw in Ariadne, in our first novel, a kind, sweet, maternal, loving, initially quite gullible woman who grows into a sort of acceptance and wisdom and sadness. With Clytemnestra, we see a very different figure, and one who was reviled until relatively more modern times, when people started looking at all that led up to her decision to kill Agamemnon. So within that conversation, why this novel? Why these ideas? What can we take away? I'm looking forward to reading your final projects on this piece. Feel free to reach out if you have questions I am more than happy to meet with you, to have a email conversation, to have a phone conversation, for you to stop by my office. Whatever helps.